Hey, it's me. Here in my office, wanted to keep it super short, but uh, put a video out. It's been a long time since the last one. Um, Something that I think comes in the life of anybody who's in any manner of recovery, including from complex trauma or mental health, you start learning how to stand up for yourself or do the right thing, and then lo and behold, you do not get rewarded for doing the right thing. You might even get something that feels punishing. And what I like to remind people, even though it's not like an easy thing to remember, is doing the right thing, allegedly, is its own reward. It's not something that you do because then somebody is happy with you or somebody approves of you setting that boundary. I grew up in a way where I really believed that having a boundary, what it was that it was something that you explained to someone so thoroughly that they gave you permission to have that boundary. It turns out boundaries just mean being able to say, like, here is where I stop, here is where you start, here's what I can do, and here's what I am not available for. And the thing I like to remind my clients, particularly if you're in any sort of recovery from complex post-traumatic stress or attachment rupture from your childhood, the questions you have to ask yourself, and it's important that you do it in order, is what are my boundaries? Right? You have to know that first before you can say yes to anything. Where can I compromise? Right? So once I know where my boundaries are, I know that I can compromise. And again, compromise is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, but self-abandonment is not compromise. So where are my boundaries? What are they? Where can I compromise? And then lastly, is that actually work or energy that I am willing and able to expend? Because most of the time, if you got raised that you needed to say yes or that you were a people pleaser, we kind of always start with, can I spare the energy? Well, then I guess I'll just do it. Instead of, what are my boundaries? Where can I compromise? And then, am I actually willing and able to do that? Because either of those, I'm willing, but I'm not able. Well, there's your answer. Or I'm able, and I don't want to. And so the core belief that I wanted to treat today is one that courage is not the absence of fear. It's just that you feel fearful and then you lead with your wisdom or you lead with your highest self or with your best efforts, recognizing that we cannot use the results of using courage as an indication of whether or not you did a good job. Just that I did my best, I was courageous. What the outcome is certainly out of my control. And so the core belief we're going to treat today is I have no courage. And we're only going to do 1 or 2 rounds because I'm trying to keep this one real short. I really feel that at my belly, my solar plexus and my belly. And now I'm starting to feel it at my throat too. But I'm going to put my hand at my solar plexus. Just a reminder, you can put your hand at any midline energy center on your body. And then we're going to start our hand at the crown and say the phrase either out loud or silently internally. And of course, you can take this resource of doing quick AIT anywhere you want, including you may not be in a position where you can move your hands because you're like in mixed company, but you can always send your attention to your crown, to your forehead without moving your hand. If you're alone, move your hand. If you're not, it's also just as well to send your undivided attention to each energy center while you're repeating that phrase. So find your number on a scale of 0 to 10 for I have no courage. This might be how true this feels or how charged it is. And then we're going to do 1 round together. I have no courage. Take a breath. I have no courage. Okay, to your forehead. Now to your chin. I have no courage. To your throat. I have no courage. To your heart center. I have no courage. And if it starts to feel like that's not true, or it's kind of hard to say it because it doesn't feel like it's like alive for you, that's a good sign. Just the indication that the energy is kind of draining out or the potency of this phrase is diminishing. I have no courage. Okay, now to your left heart, the left of your heart center. I have no courage. Now to your right heart. I have no courage. To your solar plexus, where your rib cage meets in the center. I have no courage. your belly button. I have no courage. To your pelvis in the center, where your hip bones would meet, aka your low belly. I have no courage. To your left hip crease, where your leg and your trunk meet. I have no courage. To your right hip crease. I have no courage. And then to your root, the base of your tailbone. You can send your attention there, or you can place your hand at the base of your tailbone or between your legs and say it one last time. I have no courage. Okay, take a big deep breath. Release your hands. Consider like that's a belief that doesn't have any basis in fact. It's a way we might feel or think about ourselves, but that doesn't necessarily make it true. If that still feels strong for you, that it needs a whole nother round, that's usually if it's like a 3 or above. If it feels like it's a 2 or less, you can put your hands to stationary energy centers and repeat this phrase 4 or let's say a few more times. So the way to do that is pick 2 spots where you're feeling the remainder of the sensation. For me, that's going to be at my solar plexus and on my forehead. And I'm going to say this phrase 4 more times. I have no courage. I have no courage. I have no courage. I have no courage. Okay, release your hands. Take a big deep breath. And what we want to install is this phrase's opposite. I have courage and I use it. Practicing a skill does not mean coming out of the gate with an A+. It means practicing it, falling on your face, doing a bad job, or going, sure, I can do that. And then, an hour or 2 days later going, hey, I can't do that. Someone go, why'd you say yes in the first place? And you go, I don't know. It felt true at the time, but it's not anymore. I just can't do that. And no, a full sentence is a reasonable explanation because I can't. Or because I don't want to. I don't know that I'm always courageous enough to say when someone goes, oh, why not? If I went, because I don't want to. All right, so with the phrase, I have courage and I use it, I'm going to put my hand at my throat because it makes me think about speaking the truth of what my body knows I need instead of circling up around how to make someone else happy or feel good by way of like abandoning my own needs. So one hand for me is going to go at the throat. Start your other hand at your root. I have courage and I use it. Now to your pelvis. Remember, we're skipping the hip creases. I have courage and I use it. Now to your belly button. I have courage and I use it. To your solar plexus. I have courage and I use it. Now to your center chest, your heart. I have courage and I use it. Now to your left heart. I have courage and I use it. To your right heart. I have courage and I use it. Both hands at your throat or wherever your stationary hand is. Now we're moving to your throat. I have courage and I use it. That feels really nice to say. Now to your chin. I have courage and I use it. Now to your forehead. I have courage and I use it. And once again to your crown. I have courage and I use it. Release your hands, a big deep breath. Your breath is the only part of your autonomic nervous system that you have any control over. So taking a big deep breath is a way to prove to your body, to your nervous system, that you're not in danger. Even when you're feeling an emotion that feels really unpleasant or uncomfortable, a big deep breath is indicating to your body that you're not currently in any literal physical danger. And again, if that's, I don't mean to speak for every circumstance, right? If you're in an abusive relationship, if you're really in danger, that is not to say that you can gaslight yourself into believing that you're not in danger. But if you're one of those people who has a hard time connecting to your emotions, one of the reasons may be is because your nervous system has associated connecting with your emotional life with actual danger, because that may have been true for you in your childhood or in a previous relationship. But we're trying to repattern the brain and train your nervous system that what was true in the past may not be true in the present. I'm going to try to remember to start posting more often. In particular, I have an interview with a colleague of mine to talk a little bit about adverse childhood experiences and chronic health issues in the present day. I'm fairly certain if you found your way to this channel, that might have something to do with you. It would mean so much if you guys would send me a message or put something in the comments about what you'd love to see in a future video. And until next time, be well, and I wish for you peace in the present. Bye.